video number 2, taking YouTube by storm, 1 video per year. Let's see you handle that algorithm. I'm going to show you a bunch of mistakes and errors that I made on this one and just talk you through the process a bit more in depth than the quick 1 minute version. So these are a couple of ones that I've done already. You'll notice some chipping on the edge of this one on the left. It's the one that the video will be of, and the one on the right looks slightly different. I'll talk through some of the variances that you can incorporate into your painting of it. And this is another one still. I think I'm more of a fan of this one where it has the bigger, wider squares. The one on the left, my squares were too vertical. So this part you only need to pay attention if you're going to do it to a Battletech Mini. I'll just quickly cut through the pegs and pop it out. You'll either go straight through the peg that connects to the base, or you'll dislodge the glue enough that it will pop off. And then I'll just sand it a bit, and I'm using 180 and 320. They're both just Tamiya sandpapers. I don't spend too long sanding them. I just find a flat surface and move it around a bit. Any black primer will do. And then I use painter's tape. For my vertical lines, I prefer to line it up from the middle and work my way out. Just using a white, but any white will do. And then I'm spraying so that most of my overspray is going onto the painter's tape, and a little bit of my overspray will be making the line below. I make an error with this first line. It's fatter at the top where it should be fatter down the bottom, but we'll correct this later. It'll just be a bit confusing as you're following along. Don't do this. So now I'm working on the middle line. I think having done a few of these now, I prefer the look from either a square or a more horizontal based shape. These ones end up a bit too vertical. And more space between your lines gives you more freedom to work with different colours as well, and filling the void between the lines. So that's more what a line should look like. Fatter towards the front, thinner towards the back. Now when I'm spraying these lines, I'm spraying the tape. I'm not spraying the plastic, and it's my overspray that is making the line, with the majority of the paint hitting the tape, and the majority of the overspray is going up to where the tape is. If I was to do it in the other direction, I'd end up with more white on the plastic. So you repeat this process until we've got all of our lines, and then for my vertical I do them on both sides. So you'll see I'll put the tape back on the lines I've already created, so to cause an overspray effect in the other direction. With my horizontal lines, I only go one way with the overspray popping up like a horizon line. That's just the look I like best. Because I've made these lines quite narrow, I've left myself very little room to work with inside the squares. On the bases with bigger squares, you can fill the inside with a bit more colour variety than what I do on this one, because there's more space to work with. I've been sitting on the idea for these bases for a long time, and I had hopes of doing a Tau themed army with these sorts of basings and more cel-shaded, heavy panel line, cartoon styled painting on the Tau models. Battletech Minis just gave me the opportunity to try it out. So now we're working on the horizontal lines. I'm just trying to line up how much space I want to have. You want to have more space towards the front and less space towards the back. It's easier to start at the back and work your way towards the front, because as you go down you can see the lines. Here it is finished. You'll see there's a bit too much white in the middle of the squares. So what I'll do is I come in with some black ink and correct that. Here I'm just trying out some optional extra white towards the front, also to cover up some spots where the tape has peeled the paint away. If you want to do with a brush and ink, you could brush in some of these squares. Because I made these squares so small, I'm switching to another airbrush that I have more control over for the teeny dots, and I'm changing to an ink. Any mistakes can easily be fixed. You just throw down the bit of tape and do the white again. An optional process is to increase the white by going over the lines themselves with a brush, or by adding dots to the points where they join. Don't feel you have to do this. There's lots of room and flexibility for you to put your own interpretation into this. I use the magenta fluoro from the Mecha Paint range from Vallejo for this. Put in some thinner, mix it up until it's flowing well. You see that by sliding it up the inside of the airbrush. This has actually turned out to be quite thin, so I end up doing about 5 coats. If you are going with the thin coats, then you just want to be careful not to put too much on that it starts pooling everywhere. I'll just use a bit of purple ink here, and I'm just looking to hit about the halfway. It doesn't have to be the Vallejo ink. You could use a contrast, you could use a diluted paint. This is just what I have on hand. And then I hit the top with some blue. I'm just going to use a flat black that I have. So that's it. There we have it. Pretty straightforward. Enjoy. I hope this brings a nostalgic feel that you're looking for in your base painting.
All systems nominal.